See, so we're gonna be live on YouTube. And a couple of seconds. Stream is going through. And yeah, we are live on YouTube. Forgive my, I have this appearance with me today because it's very hot. It's crazy hot here. It's abnormal heat. And I don't want to put on the lights inside this or not to add more heat.
That's understandable and all okay. You're on my computer. Your video is kind of grainy. Is my video coming in all right?
Yeah, your video is grainy because you remember I use a different camera just for the call, which is a shittier camera, and because I have no light where I am, that's why.
Okay, that's okay. I've actually upgraded my camera since last time we talked.
Yeah,
it's nothing special, but hopefully it's better than before.
Yeah, I got the same. Although I hear when you talk, I hear a little bit of like this kind of sounds.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded my microphone yet, unfortunately, but I'm working on that.
Okay, let's get into it. So
let's get into it.
Hamas. I first of all I have to say that I woke up from my shifts and I went to my phone and went to your channel, Telegram channel, and saw the picture you published of a Israeli officer captured. And I was like, what the hell is going on? What? It sparked the alarm. So I went to dig into it, and all the hell broke loose in the Gaza Strip. And so now I've been following all the news closely. But a lot of questions have come to my mind about this, because there are things that doesn't seem right or make sense, and I wanted to know your take on it. For example, Hamas suddenly makes a large-scale surprise attack by sea, air, land. I mean, they went on paraglides, they went by small boats, they barged in military bases. And I was like running through open fields.
They've really they've kicked some ass. I mean, Israel has said for the last 50 years they're the most powerful army in the Middle East, and just as Hezbollah did back in the last Lebanon war, Israel is a how do you say, the statue with the feet of clay. Apparently, they're getting their asses kicked. Hamas, in the last 2 days, has taken more territory than the Ukrainian army with NATO support has taken in the last 4 months.
True.
So that's a simple, fact right there. I'm not saying if it's good or it's bad, but it's a fact.
It is a fact.
Hamas has kicked some ass.
But
of the army that claims to have been the toughest and most technologically advanced and invincible, and their general has been captured. Perp walked out of his house in his underwear. Hundreds of IDF soldiers have been killed. Who knows how many more have been captured. Hamas has made, since the Lebanon war, what I think was 2006?
2006 it was, yes.
Yes. Since that war, when Hezbollah basically kicked Israel's ass.
I do remember well.
Yes, I remember well. And, I have to say that I consider Hassan Nasrallah to be the most holy man that lives on this earth today.
Mm-hmm.
And, he is, my greatest hero, to be honest, my greatest living hero, and has been for decades.
I want to... Yeah, please.
So I just want to say that, and what I see Hamas doing today, and believe me, bro, I am not in any way anti-Semitic. I am not against Jewish people at all. I am against Zionists. I am against Pharisees. I'm an Orthodox Christian, bro. Jesus Christ was a Jew. and he is my Savior. So how can I be against Jews? But it was the Pharisees, the rich, money-loving, money-changing, banker Jews that had him killed, that used the Roman Empire to murder Jesus Christ, just like the Pharisees of the 21st century used the United States to do their dirty work for them.
I
You
want.
understand?
Yes, I understand definitely. Well, not to the full extent. You know, we had conversation before. I still.
Well, I mean, I'm not asking you if you agree. I'm just asking you.
No,
if you
no, I do.
understand where
No,
it's
no,
coming
no,
from.
and it's not even a matter of agreeing or not. It's really a matter just of understanding, because I do not grasp religious belief I'm as you you know we've
Well, I
talked.
mean, and it's not even religious. It's historic, bro. It
Yeah,
is
or as
historic
well.
fact that there was a man named Jesus who was crucified on the request of rich Jewish Pharisees, and they got the Roman Empire to do it for them. That's a historical fact.
True, but
That is a historical fact.
it is. Well, but I wanted to go into a. I don't want to call it conspiracy. I don't, because there's been a lot of speculation now. I've been through many channels, and people find it at the minimum strange that an open air prison, as Gaza is, literally open air prison, completely surveilled, fenced. I mean, the whole thing is a cage, is a huge cage. And with the super Mossad and other intelligence services working on it, and I mean, like I said, surveillance around the clock. How does this build up to this offensive goes unnoticed to the Israeli authorities? I mean,
Well, it's very simple. The answer to that is very simple. Just like the American so-called intelligence community, just like with the Israelis, they're about 1/10 as good as they say they are. I mean, you remember, look at the CIA. You know, they had no idea that the Berlin Wall was coming down. You know, the biggest. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? You know, I mean, they're good at dealing drugs. They're good at selling children. They're good at being criminals and torturing and murdering and oppressing. But when it comes to doing the actual job they're supposed to do, which is gathering intelligence and being able to tell political leaders what the real situation is, they suck. And that goes for Mossad, and it goes for the CIA and the MI5 and the MI6. You know, they're criminals, but they're not good at the job of finding information. And that's exactly how Hamas, I mean, you know, you look at the IRA,
yeah,
you know, in the 1980s and the 1990s, you know, they also were in an open air prison in Northern Ireland.
yeah,
And they still kicked ass. They still, you know, just like Michael Collins in the 1930s,
yeah.
you know, the provisional IRA
Yeah.
in the 1990s did the exact same thing. And Hamas is doing it again. And it just goes to show, don't be afraid of bullies, because they're 90% hot air. And if you punch them in the face, they run home crying.
But the thing is now that I have found I mean, I've seen what I consider to be an excess of graphic images of what appears to be Hezbollah fighters injuring civilians, and because it's been a lot of those.
Hezbollah has not even gotten into the war yet, bro. What do you mean Hezbollah fighters?
No, sorry, I mean Hamas fighters.
Hamas fighters.
No, I have Hezbollah because I want to talk about Hezbollah in a minute as well, because they haven't got 100%, but they have lobbed some mortar shells already in north. It's
that's right.
Just
they
right.
They have,
and they have threatened to open a second front.
Yeah,
but
if Israel goes into Gaza, Hezbollah will go into Israel.
Israel. And Hezbollah
And
is
Hassan Nasrallah does not bluff, bro.
no, they don't, and they proved that already.
They
But
have proved that already.
what I see now is that suddenly this multiplying of social media channels just pouring out images, very graphic images, and suddenly the Israel becomes a victim to the eyes of the world.
Well,
This-
I mean, understand that, of course, as with all mainstream media around the world these days, it's disinfo, it's fake news. I mean, okay, so there was a video of a female Israeli soldier. It was captured today. She was taken out of the back of a SUV.
Yeah,
She was transferred, okay, and she had some dark liquid on her butt.
yeah.
And so immediately people are saying, "Oh, well, she must have been raped 100 times already, and she's bleeding out of her ass." And but how? I mean, she could have sat in blood. She could have sat in motor oil. You know? I mean, this is all speculation. This
It is true.
Fake, provocation, provocative. That idiots believe. And supposedly, and I don't know exactly if it was the same chick, but there was a video that was, or a photograph or video that was later published. It showed an Israeli female soldier sitting in the house of a Hamas fighter on the couch in fresh, clean clothes, drinking from, water or some juice or something.
This one is.
And they said it was the same girl. And I don't know. I mean, the thing is, as always, truth is the first casualty of war. So
True.
and so, they're going to be coming up like they do in Ukraine. They're going to be showing pictures from 30 years ago of some kid in a bombed house and say, "Oh, this is what Hamas did today."
True.
So, and indeed it is, and so, of course, you have to wait a little bit to find out what really happens. I mean, everything that comes out at first, it's pretty much BS all the way around.
True, but the developing of the things now that I see is that Israel is going on a massive offensive into the Gaza Strip, and this will and they are unchecked. I mean, if they were unchecked before, they're gonna be completely unchecked now because
they're gonna wish that they hadn't, bro. Because I'll tell you what, they can. The entire Israeli army, maybe is strong enough to totally destroy Gaza, to destroy the military, all the military in Gaza, to slaughter civilians by the hundreds or the thousands.
They're already doing that.
Or the hundreds of thousands. But you know what? And it's very simple. If they do that, then Israel is not, it's not a war between Israel and Gaza. If they go into Gaza, it's going to be a war between Israel and Islam.
Islam, the Arab world. Yeah.
The Arab world, bro. You don't think that Iran can handle Israel? You don't think that, that the massive people in Turkey are going to demand Erdogan, Syria, the Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
Qatar. I mean, so, this is, Israel has made its bed and now it can sleep in it. And if it goes into Gaza, then they're not going to fight the Palestinians. They're going to fight the Arab world, and they will lose.
Okay. But this, like I said, it's I found it strange how easy it was for those fighters to cross open field into military bases without any resistance.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And that's the price of hubris. That's the price of thinking, "Oh, we're so badass, we don't have to train." My old commander, Alexander Khodorkovsky from the Vostok Battalion, he watched today Israeli special forces supposedly clearing uh, you know, urban areas that Palestinian fighters had gotten into in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if he said this is a clown show. If the Russian military did what these idiots are doing,
Though, yeah,
they
yeah,
would have been defeated.
I've seen
I mean,
that. Yeah,
they're pointing guns at each other.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
all bunching up. I mean, one DJI Mavic drone with a couple of VOG grenades could have took out 20 of them.
yeah. I've seen that, and yeah, that's actually it makes sense. It's still hard to believe for me because I had in mind that Israel. I mean, apart from that failure in 2006, but when they went into Lebanon, but I was like, I could hardly believe that the Israeli army would behave in such manner to go in a town to fight just like a bunch of guys with weapons, not like a group of trained soldiers, not displaying any acknowledgement of any tactics in urban warfare or anything.
I mean, bro, the very first rule when you move in a combat situation, especially in an urban area, is you keep 5 meters apart between each soldier.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
that's a basic thing, right? It's
amazing. That's like you have to know the alphabet before you can read.
Yeah,
and
true.
these idiots were, they were bunched up, like they were waiting in line at the grocery store, at the cashier for the grocery store,
Okay.
So obviously their reputation, by 1,000% exceeds their actual abilities, their actual training, their actual capabilities.
Okay. So let's get this out of the way. You don't buy the idea that this somehow Israel is involved in this in order to have a reason to go full scale into Gaza.
And what I've understood, what I've heard from Iranian, Lebanese, Palestinian, and Russian sources is that Hamas had to make this move because Israel was getting ready to go full scale into Gaza and the West Bank both.
All right. Okay.
They were planning a big offensive.
Okay.
For to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War.
Okay. Yeah.
Which was October 6th, 73 to 2023. That's 50 years, bro.
Yeah.
And they were getting ready to say, and you know how they love to do it on the special dates, the numerology and all that.
Yeah.
And so, they were planning, supposedly, this is what people are saying, reliable, serious people are saying, just like what happened in February of 2022 when Russia came in. They didn't come in just because they felt like it. They came in because they knew that the Ukrainian and NATO Nazis were planning a genocidal offensive against the Donbass republics the following week. And so it was a preemptive strike, a preventative strike. As Vladimir Putin said, he said, when I was a kid growing up on the tough streets of Leningrad, I learned that if the fight is inevitable, it is better to hit first. And I've learned that same lesson on different streets, but on the street,
Yes. Now I wanted to transport this event now to Ukraine. So the U.S. has already announced, I think it was 5 or 6 billion aid to Israel. So my question is simple. Do you think, okay, it's time to put Ukraine on the standby and focus on Israel? Will the U.S. be able to handle both? What do you think will happen here?
The U.S. and Europe are not able to handle both. They were already, trying to politely make their exit before this happened. It was quite clear from Zelensky's last trip to the U.S. that, he's no longer, how can I say it, the poster boy that he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, people are tired. They understand that it's just, pouring money down the toilet. There's, my friends on the front these days are telling me that, almost half of the guys that they're fighting these days on the front are not from Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah. I've
Understand?
mm-hmm.
Mercenaries, NATO soldiers that, took off their French or English or American uniform and put on the UCROP uniform, and pretend that they're UCROPs. So
yeah.
Ukrainian army is already done. It's done. And they're now running out of ammunition, and pretty soon is going to come the time. And, a lot of people here in Donbass have complained a lot about how long it's took. But if by the end of the year or by the spring or the summer, or even by this time next year,
mm-hmm.
if Russia has taken, a sufficient amount, if Russia has, sufficiently defeated the Ukrainian army and NATO in Ukraine, which in most people's opinion, it means to take Kiev, to take Odessa, and everything in between, from Kiev to the northern border of Moldova and everything east of it, the Dnieper and everything east of it. And let Poland have the rest. Let there be a little, buffer zone of
partition,
the impoverished, failed state of Ukraine. It's
mm-hmm.
like the, I don't know, the European Ethiopia or something,
mm-hmm.
in
mm-hmm.
between, and let it be, like that. But,
okay. I was watching a piece made by the Deutsche Welle. It's this German news outlet.
I know Deutsche Welle.
Yeah. And they were interviewing this. They were talking about the Ukrainian dodging the draft, and I was like, okay, seems pretty honest, this piece. And they interviewed this one guy, and I was astonished to the words of this one guy, this one Ukrainian young man. He was a tattoo guy. He worked in making tattoos, and the guy was literally saying that, of course, I support the Ukrainian army. Of course, I support all that, but it's not worth giving my life for it. So he literally said that he rather save his life, and even if Ukraine ended as a state, than dying for it. So I think this actually represents a lot of the. And they talked about tens of thousands of Ukrainians dodging.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what a piece of trash. What a coward. What a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
What a worthless so-called human being. If, the people who have no greater meaning in their life than themselves, than their safety and security, than their pleasure, than their well-being, they're like rats, dude. They're like, literally, they're like rats, and, and there's a lot of them in Ukraine. And this guy you're talking about is a perfect example.
Yeah.
If you don't care about anybody but yourself, I'll use the nice word and say you're a piece of garbage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that goes for anybody in any country around the world,
Mm-hmm.
your life is meaningless. You are worthless. You are a parasite. You're sucking in and giving back nothing.
Okay.
How lower can it be than that?
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that, for example, by the not trying to be the devil's advocate here, that maybe the guy just sees his fellow countrymen coming back home without limbs and with lives completely ruined by coming back from the front lines, and it just maybe doesn't believe in the cause.
So he doesn't believe in the cause, then go and fight against what's causing it.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
go back to Ukraine
Good
and
point
be a
of view.
partisan against the Nazi government.
Good point of view, yeah, yeah.
Of course, you know.
Yeah. Supporting it and not dipping into it, yeah, that's, yeah, okay.
Exactly, you know. I mean,
uh,
that's the thing that, you know, it's so, I mean, not just like discouraging, but disgusting to see all these people, these posers, you know, these cowards, you know, these hypocrites that say, "Oh, I believe in human rights and stuff," you know, and they think that they're revolutionaries because, you know, they hit the like button on their Facebook page, you know. And of course, information is important. The information war is critical. And so, of course, somebody has to talk about it. But those that talk about it and do nothing except talk about it, you know, we can see their work. You know, we can see the measure of what they do. You know, and that's, you know, and there's so many people like that these days, bro. I mean, and I'm not, you know, and I'm not I mean, you know, and I'm not dissing people that do it, like dedicatedly, and I mean that really that are doing the best they can. You know, I mean, we all have different abilities. We all have different, you know, ways that we can help. But, you know, I mean, some dude, you know, he buys a Che Guevara T-shirt and he says he's a communist, you know, and he sits in the coffee shop. You know, I'm a real communist, you know, and, you know, guys like that, I want to slap the shit out of them, you know, when I see them, you know. And they're the ones that always come on my Telegram channel, you know, and they want to be like some kind of smartass and tell me what I'm doing wrong, you know.
Okay.
And I came here to fight.
Yeah.
You know, for a better world, you know, to put my life on the line for it. And these punks, you know, who think that, you know, they buy a button and put it on their shirt and they think, "Oh, I'm a revolutionary," you know.
Yeah.
And so it's tough, you know, but we all have what we can do. We all do what we can do. And if it's the best you can do, then that's enough. But, you know, what I've done, and I don't consider myself to be a Superman or a hero, but I came here and I fought in the war on the front lines. I've killed Nazis. You know, I came here and I brought almost $1 million worth of human aid into Donbass to help civilian victims here of this war in the last 10 years. Maybe more than 1 million by now. You know, the work I've done in the information war has gone around the world, dude. I got fan clubs in China. You know, I mean, that I never even heard of till somebody said, "Hey, look on Billy. You got 70,000 views on your latest video."
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I know.
so,
You know, I do respect you, Russell. Let me just say this is one of the reasons I really enjoy talking to you, because I know I will obtain from you the most sincere and the most honest and straightforward answer that it is available anywhere on the information space.
And bro, I'm not bragging. I'm not saying,
I know.
Look how cool I am. You know, when I came here, I expected to die within 3 months of getting here. It was the winter of 2014, 2015. I went straight to the combat front. I didn't even really speak English. I was 54 years old. I wasn't in good shape, but I came anyway. And I said, if I die, then I die on the right side of history, the right side of God, and I die in the company of heroes. And that's good enough. And I was lucky, you know, and I was a good soldier and I had great comrades, you know, and here I am 10 years later, the best 10 years of my life. You know, so courage is the key to happiness. If to be brave, that's what I say to everybody everywhere. Be brave. You know why? Because it's impossible to be happy if you are afraid.
True. So true.
And so, you know, and it was if I wasn't brave, I wouldn't have come here. I couldn't have come here.
Of course.
And so, just take the example, take the lesson from the people of Donbass. Take the lesson from the people of Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, you can never defeat the Israeli army. Oh yeah, hold my beer, watch this.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken more territory in a weekend than the Ukrainian army with NATO backing has took in 4 months of the summer offensive.
And they took it walking and running without tanks and armored vehicles or air support.
Some Israelis now, and so you know what? I'm a guy that always loves the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that likes the little kid that smacks the bully in the face and the bully runs home crying. I love to see that. That's exactly what it looks like to me, happening in Israel these days.
Yes, that's why. I think there's a lot of people actually that thinks like you, but they are mistaken in concerning this affairs in Palestine, thinking that the terrorists are
which side is the good guys. They got it opposite,
Yeah. Okay, Russell, I will keep this one shorter than the other one because I still have to prepare for my night shift today. I have to be running. I do a lousy job, I know, as a journalist, because I have to take care of many other horses.
We all do what we can, bro. And you know what? I respect you, and I'm very happy to consider you my comrade and my friend, and I mean that. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't, bro.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will end the live stream, but I will ask you to remain a couple of minutes more with me.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Help it grow. Help it to be an alternative in the information space. Let's just hope we don't get censored one of these days. Bye-bye. Thank you, Russell, once again. And davai.
Davai.
Okay, live stream ended.